Hello there, and welcome back to Forever Strong Seniors, where we believe that age is just a number, but vitality is a daily decision. Let me ask you something. What if I told you there's a 90-year-old man, still driving his own car, doing his own grocery shopping, and hasn't had so much as a cold in over 30 years? No miracle pills, no extreme diets, just 5 simple daily habits. That's it. And here's the best part. You don't need to be 90 to start. You can begin today, right now. In this video, I'm going to walk you through those exact habits. But more importantly, I'll explain why they work and how they've kept this man sharp, strong, and independent well into his 90s. So, pull up a chair, pour yourself a warm cup of something good, and let's begin. Because what you're about to hear could change your mornings, and maybe even add years to your life. Every single morning, before his feet even touch the ground, George, yes, that's what we'll call him, sends a gentle but powerful message to his body. Wake up. You're needed today. It's not exercise, and it's not fancy yoga. It's 90 seconds of intentional movement. Lying on his back, he starts with 3 deep breaths. He slowly stretches his fingers, wiggles his toes, rotates his ankles and wrists, and feels each part of his body reawaken, on purpose. You might be thinking, that's too simple to matter. But according to research from the National Institute on Aging, what happens in the first 30 minutes after waking sets the tone for the entire day, especially as we grow older. At that hour, blood is thicker, joints are stiff, the nervous system, still half asleep. George used to do what most of us do, jump out of bed too fast. At 60, he'd stumble toward the bathroom, legs heavy, head foggy. Once, he even tripped on his slippers. That's when he realized, if he didn't send a signal to his body, it would keep hitting snooze, even while he was standing. So, he created this little morning ritual, not for strength, but for consistency. And it changed everything. He doesn't miss it. Not before coffee, not before checking the news. It's the very first thing, every single day. And if he forgets, his body lets him know. Stiff knees, tight hips, foggy thinking. Science supports this, too. The Mayo Clinic has shown that low-intensity mobility movements, done consistently, can reduce inflammation markers, improve joint health, and help regulate blood pressure. Not intensity, consistency. George doesn't use a mat, doesn't put on workout clothes, doesn't even sit up. He stays in bed. Just 90 seconds of kindness to the body he relies on. And you know what? That tiny choice, those small, quiet movements, may be why his balance is still strong, his steps are still steady, and his mornings are clear. Because aging doesn't strike all at once. It tiptoes in quietly, in small skip moments. But so does healing. And this simple ritual, it's his way of saying, we're still in this together. Let me know when you're ready for next part. We'll move on to the golden drink that's been keeping his immune system sharp for 3 decades. Right after George finishes his morning body ritual, he reaches for what he calls his golden glass. No, it's not some expensive green smoothie or a shelf full of supplements. It's just a warm cup of water with 3 simple ingredients: fresh lemon juice, turmeric, and a pinch of black pepper. That's it. And for over 30 years, this has been the very first thing that enters his body every morning. Not coffee, not breakfast. This. Now, why is this so important? Let's break it down. The lemon floods his system with vitamin C, one of the most powerful antioxidants for immune support. But it's more than that. Lemon stimulates bile production in the liver, which helps digestion and prevents the sluggish buildup of toxins, a common issue as we age. It also helps restore stomach acid levels, which tend to decline over time, making digestion slow and uncomfortable. Then there's turmeric, the golden root, loaded with curcumin. This natural compound has been studied in hundreds of peer-reviewed journals for its powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Inflammation is the silent thief of health. It creeps into joints, fogs the mind, weakens the heart, and curcumin helps fight that. But here's the key. Curcumin doesn't work well without help. That's where the black pepper comes in. It contains a compound called piperine, which increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Without it, The turmeric might pass through your body without doing much at all, but together, they become a powerhouse. George mixes it himself. No fancy products. Just a half lemon squeezed into warm, not boiling, water, a quarter teaspoon of turmeric, and a small pinch of black pepper. Stir, sip slowly, and let it begin its work. He started this when he was 61. Back then, he struggled with sinus infections every winter, joint pain when it got cold, and always felt bloated after breakfast. 2 weeks into the simple drink, his digestion improved. The bloating stopped. His joints felt easier. And a few months later, something clicked. He realized he hadn't been sick in nearly a year. That was 3 decades ago. Now, let's be clear. George still gets exposed to viruses, of course. But as he says, my body doesn't roll out the red carpet for them anymore. Instead, his system is ready, alert, strong, defended. This daily drink is more than hydration. It's a signal, just like his morning movement. It tells his body, we're not waiting to get sick. We're standing guard. And that's what health is really. Not luck. Not perfection. Just simple, consistent actions that whisper, I care about you. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your toast or crack your eggs, consider pouring yourself something golden. It might not seem like much, but as George has learned, the smallest choices, done every day, can protect you for a lifetime. And remember, you're not just sipping a drink. You're declaring something powerful. I choose health. I choose to show up for my body today. Let me know when you're ready to move on to next part, where we explore George's most underestimated habit, the 15-minute daily walk that changed everything. After sipping his golden drink, George puts on his walking shoes. Not the fancy kind, just a simple, well-worn pair with good support, shoes that have walked many miles over many years. And then, without fail, he steps outside. Rain or shine, wind or calm, he walks. 15 minutes. No headphones. No distractions. Just movement, breath, and presence. To some people, it might not look like much. A slow walk around the block. A few laps in the garden. But for George, this daily ritual is sacred. It's not about burning calories. It's not about weight loss. It's not even about heart rate. It's about healing. You see, back in his 60s, George used to believe what many of us believed, that exercise had to be intense to matter. He would jog, sweat, push through pain. But over time, he realized that wasn't what his body needed. In fact, it often left him more fatigued, more sore, and more disconnected from himself. Then one day, he stumbled across a study. It revealed that just walking, nothing fancy, could reduce systemic inflammation, regulate blood sugar, improve memory, and even lower the risk of death by nearly 40%. That was the moment it all changed. From that day on, George stopped chasing sweat. He started embracing rhythm, because walking, as he now sees it, isn't just about moving forward. It's about realigning, bringing everything back into place. His joints, his lymphatic system, his nervous system, even his mood. He once said, I don't walk because I'm strong. I walk because I want to stay strong. And the difference he feels when he misses even a single walk, immediate. His legs stiffen, his thoughts slow down, his energy dips. That's when he knows walking isn't optional. It's medicine. There's science to back him up too. A study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that just 20 minutes of daily walking significantly reduced C-reactive protein levels, a marker of chronic inflammation in older adults. Another study out of Stanford University found that walking, yes, even slow walking, boosted creativity and mental clarity more than any sitting activity. But beyond all the research, there's a moment that convinced George more than any study ever could. It was about 25 years ago. He had an early appointment and told himself he'd skip his morning walk just for that day. He'd make it up later. But the day got busy. He never did. And that evening, as he settled into bed, he noticed something different. His body felt foreign, heavy, disconnected. He didn't feel tired or sore exactly. He felt old, like his lungs had forgotten how to stretch, like his joints didn't belong to him anymore. That was the last time he skipped a walk. Now, every morning, it's a sacred time. He starts slow, breathes deeply, in for 4 seconds, out for 6. He swings his arms gently, opens his chest, lets the air and motion reset his system. And here's something unexpected. He smiles while he walks. Not because he feels joyful, at least, not always at first, but because the act of smiling creates joy. There's even a name for this. It's called vagal toning. Smiling, especially during movement, stimulates the vagus nerve, a powerful regulator of mood, inflammation, heart rate, and digestion. One study from psychosomatic medicine showed that smiling during physical activity amplifies the anti-stress effects of the activity itself. It's like giving your nervous system a hug from the inside. George may not have known the term vagal stimulation back when he began this habit, but he knew how it made him feel. Calmer, lighter, sharper. And when he gets back home, after just 15 minutes, he doesn't just feel exercised. He feels rebooted, shoulders relaxed, knees loose, mind clear, as if the walk turned a rusty key and the gears of his body began to hum again. He likes to say, walking doesn't take energy, it gives it to you. And that's something we often forget as we age. We think we need to rest more, sit more, save our strength. But motion creates strength, and the body, no matter its age, was built to move. So if you've been feeling stuck or tired or cloudy lately, maybe the answer isn't another cup of coffee or more time on the couch. Maybe it's as simple as putting on your shoes, opening the door, and telling your body, let's begin again. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. Because walking is the most underrated medicine we have. And it's free. It's gentle. It's right outside your door. You don't need perfect weather. You don't need energy. You don't need motivation. You just need to take the first step. Let me know when you're ready for next part. We'll talk about the protein-powered breakfast that keeps George focused and energized, and the final mental habit that just might be the key to staying young. After his walk, George comes home with a gentle rhythm in his step, his shoulders rolled back, breath steady, and eyes clear. But the morning isn't over just yet, because what he puts into his body next, right after that healing walk, is what fuels everything else. And this is where so many of us get it wrong, without realizing it. For years, George thought his breakfast was healthy. He'd have some toast, maybe a banana, sometimes a bowl of oatmeal with a sprinkle of raisins. It felt light, easy, clean. But something didn't feel right. He was losing strength. He started forgetting things. Not big things, but small everyday details. Whether he'd taken his keys, whether he'd already eaten, whether he'd locked the door. And worst of all, he began crashing mid-morning, needing a nap or a second cup of coffee just to stay alert. At first, he chalked it up to aging, but during a checkup, his doctor gently pointed out the truth. George wasn't getting enough protein. Not for someone his age. Not for someone who wanted to stay sharp, strong, and independent. That conversation changed everything. From that day forward, George made one promise to himself, to never skip protein again, especially at breakfast. He completely reworked his morning meal. No more empty carbs, no more sugar spikes followed by crashes. Now, every morning, he sits down to something he lovingly calls his brain and body breakfast. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Something that feeds not just the body, but the mind too. He keeps it simple, nothing fancy. Just one boiled egg, a cup of thick, creamy Greek yogurt, a handful of walnuts, and a few fresh blueberries. And let me tell you, he doesn't eat it just to fill his stomach. He eats it because of what it gives him. Steady energy, mental clarity, and the strength to take on whatever the day brings. It's amazing what happens when your body finally gets what it's been quietly asking for. He no longer crashes at 11 a.m. His mind feels steady. Whether he's heading to the grocery store, driving across town to see a friend, or simply reading in his garden, he feels fully present, grounded, and strong. And while he may switch it up sometimes, maybe a small piece of grilled chicken on sprouted toast, maybe cottage cheese with flax seeds, the message never changes. Protein first. Always. Because your body decides how it will perform each day based on how you begin. George likes to say, you wouldn't try to drive across the country on an empty tank. So why do we try to live on one? But even with all of that, his movement, his golden drink, his walk, his nourishing breakfast, there's one habit he swears by more than any other. One that has nothing to do with food or physical health. One that, in his words, makes all the other habits possible. It's the way he starts his mind each morning. Before speaking to anyone, before reading the headlines, before checking the weather, or even sipping his turmeric tonic, George sits still for just 3 minutes. And during those 3 minutes, he doesn't think about his to-do list or the bills on the counter. He pictures the kind of day he wants to have. Not what will happen, but how he wants to feel. He imagines himself walking with strength, speaking with calm, and moving through the world with grace. He sees himself behind the wheel, confident, focused, not rushed. He visualizes himself being steady, being useful, being content. It's simple, but it's powerful. Because here's what science now confirms. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between something vividly imagined and something experienced in real life. Studies have shown that mental rehearsal activates the same areas of the brain as physical action. In other words, when George pictures strength, calm, and resilience, he's already practicing it before his day even begins. He once had a friend, similar age, who lived with constant stress, always reading the news, always worried about what might go wrong. One day, that friend collapsed from a sudden heart issue. He recovered, but things were never quite the same. When he asked George how he always seemed so calm, George told him something I'll never forget. "Worry is a thief," he said, "and every morning I lock the door." That morning ritual, those quiet 3 minutes, became his mental armor, his way of taking control, not of the world, but of his response to it. And as it turns out, those few minutes also affect the body. They lower cortisol. They improve digestion. They sharpen memory and strengthen the immune system. One study even found that 5 minutes of mental tuning per day in older adults significantly reduced anxiety, and the benefits lasted for weeks. So yes, George moves his body gently. He drinks his golden glass. He walks. He eats protein. But it's his mind, the way he trains it every morning, that ties it all together. Because your thoughts shape your hormones. Your hormones shape your health. And health, real health, begins in the quietest moments. And now that you know his story, maybe you're beginning to see. It wasn't luck. It wasn't some magic. It was 5 small decisions made every single day. 5 habits, not born from discipline, but from care. So if you've been wondering, is it too late for me? Let George be your answer. You're still here. You still can. And the best part? You only need to start with one. Maybe it's the gentle wake-up stretch. Maybe it's a walk around the block. Maybe it's that warm golden drink in the morning sunshine. Whatever it is, start small. Start now. And let your body hear you say, "We're still in this together." And before you go, I have a question for you. Out of the 5 habits we've shared today, which one speaks to you the most? Which one will you try tomorrow morning? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and explore the other videos on our channel. Because at Forever Strong Seniors, we believe strength doesn't fade with time. It grows with care. We'll see you in the next video, where I'll share the one nightly habit George never skips, and why some scientists think it might just be the key to reversing aging itself. Until then, take care of your body, and be kind to your mornings.